Thanks for tuning in to our live weekly Facebook training where we discuss business credit building tips, tactics to get business loans and credit lines, and actionable business growth strategies. We're going live on Facebook starting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Going live now with your host, Ty Crandall.
Hey everybody, and welcome to our live stream today. I'm glad everybody could join us. So today, we're talking about business credit. We're talking about benefits. We're talking about things that business credit can do for your business that you probably don't know that business credit can actually do. So there's a lot of cool things. Look, if everybody knew what business credit could actually do, like everybody would have it. But the statistics are that 9 out of 10 business owners don't know anything about business credit, let alone know what it can actually do for their business. So today, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about 10 different things that business credit can do to enhance your business to help you grow your business faster. Because business credit is a great solution for you to get access to money quickly, especially when you can't get financing, and help you get better terms on the financing you get, amongst a bunch of other things that I've yet to talk about, as we're going to talk about. So Gregory, Quentin, thank you all very much for coming in. So today we're talking about 10 different benefits that business credit provides for you and your business. So when we're talking about business credit, it's important to know that we're talking about, again, credit that's linked to your business EIN, not your social security number, okay? So this is basically credit that you're using for the business to basically fund itself. And that's really the thing. Joy, welcome. Thank you. Quentin, thanks for coming in. That's one of the most important things to know about business credit. Look, the statistics are that 75% of business owners get money from family and friends. Even more use their personal credit. They use personal financing. They use personal assets to fund a business. But here's the thing that most people don't know. Business credit is really designed for your business to fund itself. It's designed for your business to pay for the things that you're paying for using probably personal funds or family money, friends' money to start. And then when you get going, you're using that cash flow that becomes very valuable to you to buy the things that business credit can buy. So when we're talking about credit that's linked to your EIN, not your social. We're talking about a way for your business to basically fund itself. So a lot of benefits we're going to discuss as we dive in here today. The first of which is right here. With business credit, there's no personal credit pull. So there's no personal credit inquiry on your consumer credit report. Now, there's a couple different reasons this really matters. First of all, personal credit quality doesn't matter at all. That means even if you have bad personal credit, 350, 400, 500 credit scores, you're still able to come in and secure business credit. Now, this is a big deal also because 10% of your personal credit scores are based on inquiries. How many inquiries you have on your consumer credit reports. And you also won't have this credit affecting your utilization. So let's look at each one of these. Business credit can be built regardless of personal credit quality. Look, one of the biggest reasons that business owners struggle to get financing is because they have dings on their credit. Makes sense. We're entrepreneurs. We're risk takers. So what happens is a lot of times entrepreneurs' credit has damage on it because it reflects the risks that we take. With business credit, you can get it regardless of personal credit quality because you're not even providing your social security number. There's no personal credit check. So since your personal credit isn't looked at for approval, that's why you can get approved regardless of what your personal credit quality is. Now, the second thing about this factor that matters is that 10% of your credit score is made up of what's called inquiries. Actually, it's referred to as new credit you're obtaining. So as you get new credit, the more new credit you're applying for, the lower your score gets. As a matter of fact, the more credit you apply for and don't get, it has even greater adverse impact on your score. But here's what matters to me even more. In our world, in the commercial loan and credit world, when you come in and have even 1 or 2 inquiries on your credit report, it can prevent you from getting unsecured credit lines. There's a lot of great programs out there with unsecured credit lines that are based on your personal credit quality. And one of the biggest things they look for is how many inquiries you have on your personal credit report. And to make it even worse, what they care about most is credit card inquiries. So when you have credit card inquiries from Chase, Bank of America, etc., not only does that lower your score, it also adversely affects your ability to get a lot of credit lines. So we need to try to keep inquiries off your credit report because not only will it help your consumer credit score, it makes you more lendable in the business side. It helps you get more business business credit lines, more business loans. It helps you get more financing. So we need to keep those inquiries off of your personal credit report. So again, when we look at this, we see that personal credit quality doesn't matter. We see that your inquiries aren't affected because there's no inquiry on your personal credit report. But here's the kicker. This credit doesn't report on your consumer credit reports. It reports on your business credit reports. Here's why that's a big deal. 30% of your consumer FICO score is made up of what's called utilization. When you put balances on your credit cards, you lower your consumer credit score. The higher the balances in relation to the limit, the more damage you cause to your score. The reason that's an issue is consumer credit credit limits are much smaller than business credit limits. Business credit limits are gigantic compared to consumer limits. So when you try to use consumer credit to fund a business, which it was not intended to do, you quickly max out that credit, you crush your credit score, and you adversely affect your ability to get a lot of loans and credit lines you could have easily gotten if you wouldn't have done that. Business credit prevents all these things. There's no inquiry on the credit report. The credit doesn't report on your consumer credit reports. It doesn't adversely affect your utilization. And also, you can get approved for business credit regardless of your consumer credit quality. So multiple benefits here, all relative to no adverse impact on your personal credit. Now, if this all makes sense, help me out, okay? Give me some likes, give me some shares. Let's bring other people into this conversation. So second benefit here. It gives the business owner 2 times the purchasing power. Because basically what's happening is you're allowed to get 2 credit cards for the same merchant. So this is the only legal way you can separate your consumer and your commercial profiles. Think of it like this. You can't walk into Office Depot, get a consumer credit card, walk in tomorrow and get another one. They won't let you. They'll tell you that because you already have one, you can't get another one. But what you can do is you can get a consumer credit card at Office Depot, and then you can go get a business credit card through Office Depot even the next day. So the nice thing about this is that you're able to get twice as much credit, consumer and commercial. This is the only legal way you can really build 2 credit profiles. Commercial, consumer. And that gives you more than double the borrowing ability. Now Q says, can I personally guarantee someone else's business and also mine? When you're getting financing and credit, what they typically want to see is anybody as a guarantee that owns more than 20% of the business, unless your business credit's established. The more business credit you establish, the more you can get away with a personal guarantee, but you're not really going to be able to personally guarantee somebody else unless you're an owner of more than 20% of that business. Okay, I'm paying for my S Corp next month. Great job, Quentin. That's awesome. Okay, I have 2 reporting, got 1, need more, 1 more. That's awesome. So keep it up. Business credit building is important. It's all about obtaining those trade lines. Desiree is exactly what it is that you say you're doing, and you're on your way to getting that credit. So keep it up. So again, guys, if this makes sense, give me likes and shares. Let me explain why. What Facebook does is they want to know if this is relevant. We have tens of thousands of people that like our Facebook page, but they only show it to 90. The more you like, the more you comment, the more you engage, the more you share, the more Facebook sees this is relevant, the more they show it to other people, and we can invite other people into the conversation. Thank you for coming in. Good afternoon, Robert. Thanks for coming in. So let's get, twice the purchasing power, no impact on your consumer credit. So let's talk about some other benefits. Your limits on business credit are about 10 to 100 times higher than what you're going to find on personal credit per SBA. This is very, very true. Think of it like this. You're never going to need to spend 10 grand at Dell on home computers. You'll easily need to spend 10 grand at Dell on office computers. This is why the limits on business credit cards are so high compared to consumer credit card limits. It's also why we can get 20, 30, 40, $50,000 limit business credit cards within 6 months or less, regardless of personal credit quality. When I say it, it sounds like a scam. It sounds like you should bring skepticism, as it should. But if you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Businesses have a greater appetite for spending, so the limits are substantially higher. So you may never get a $50,000 limit consumer credit card, but in the business world, in 4 to 6 months, that's fairly easy to obtain. So Michael says, unfortunately, I made the mistake of paying phase 1 invoices too soon, somewhat ironically. Yes, the key to building business credit is you can't pay the bill before the item is fulfilled, which typically means shipped. So you got to wait till they ship to pay the item. It's the first person I've ever talked to that's actually done that, but kind of good job because you do want to pay your bills early, just not that early. Any way to get started without Fundbox? On what? It depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about getting credit lines, there's a lot of other options outside of Fundbox, but Fundbox is pretty cool because there's no personal credit check. So it's also easier to get than other kind of financing, and here's why. Every kind of financing, you need a business strength to get approved. It's either cash flow or credit or collateral. If you have one of these, you can get a loan from an alternative lender. If you have multiple of these, you can get more financing. So having these two gets you term loans. Having all three of these gets you SBA loans. Business credit's the only way you can get money for a business when you have none of these three. Meaning startups can get it. Meaning people with credit issues can get it. People with no revenue can get it. People that can't verify revenue can get it. People that don't have collateral can get it. It's the only way to get financing when you don't have these three. No problem, Mark. Hopefully that helps. Sanford, hello. Thanks for coming in. So another benefit is that you can get business credit, again, like I said, when you can't get a loan. You can simply get it easier than other kind of financing. Remember, most kind of financing needs documentation for you, bank statements, tax returns, etc. Business credit, none of that. It's as simple as getting a consumer credit card. You don't need to provide any income documentation. It's no-doc financing. So it's much easier to get that financing. And again, as I mentioned, you can get it even when you can't get a business loan. Okay, another huge benefit is it's great for startups. It's great for nonprofits. It's great for high-risk industries. Look, all three of these segments struggle to get money. Startups, nobody wants to lend to startups because the majority of startups fail. Nonprofits, if you're not making a profit, who wants to lend you money because you can't pay back the amount that you owe, hypothetically? Okay, high-risk industries. If you're high-risk industry, you're high-risk for a reason, and therefore a lot of lenders won't lend. So business credit works in all these weird scenarios, startups, nonprofits, high risk, where most people struggle to get money. Business credit is still a solution that will work. It's a catch-all, I call it, because again, everybody can get it. If you own a business, you can get business credit. It's as simple as that. Mark, I'm ready to get Ultimate ASAP. Perfect. Give us an email or a call, 877-600-2487 or info@creditsuite.com. That's info@creditsuite.com. I need help as a real estate investor. Real estate investment is the number 2 industry that we help because of what I just said. Because real estate is a high-risk industry. It's tough to get loans and other kind of financing, but you can easily get business credit. It's because, again, you don't need cash flow. You don't need credit. You don't need collateral to get business credit as you do with so much other kind of financing. Now, business credit also gets you better rates and higher approvals on loans and credit lines. So, cases, we take a look at business credit reports right here live on our streams. And what you'll find is that the score you have on your business credit reports determines the rate and terms you'll pay on the actual financing you get. Your quality of business credit oftentimes determines if you're getting approved for a loan or getting denied. It's the difference between credit card and loan approvals or credit card and loan denials. And every business credit report, Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian all have a recommended amount of credit you should be lent. They put on your credit report how much money the lender or credit issuer should give you. So if you don't build your business credit, it's much tougher to get approved for loans and credit lines. You're going to pay higher rates and terms, and you're not going to get approved for as much because they don't have the support of the business credit reporting agencies who are telling them, lend to this person, and here's about how much you should lend them. Here's the other cool part. The more you build your business credit, the more the amount of credit recommendation from the bureaus increases. So the more you build your business credit, the more they're telling lenders and credit issuers you're trustworthy. Give this person money. Give them more and more and more money. So business credit determines if you'll get approved for loans, the rates and terms you'll pay, and how much money you'll get. So if you ever want to get loans for your business, you really need to focus on building your business credit to help you become more lendable. Okay, Rico says, I have approximately 10 trades. Can I get a credit card? Visa and MasterCard are probably going to require about 14 with Chase, with Amex, with with PNC Bank, with the ones that are giving the Visa and MasterCards with no PG. Where should I begin to start building business credit? Well, we've got a great free guide to Mika where you can go to creditsuite.com/Facebook, or even better than that, go to facebook.com/creditsuite. Go to our messenger, type in the letters EIN, and you'll immediately engage with our really cool bot who will get you that guide. So go to messenger, type in EIN, they will map out the steps, and in our future live streams, we will dive into that topic as well. Hello, and thanks for coming in, Yvette. Okay, so no cash flow credit collateral, better rates. It can be built early, even as a startup, as we talked about a little bit earlier. Another benefit is there's no personal liability. There's no personal guarantee when it comes to business. So here, guys, the reason I'm here is because the first business I ever built was a mortgage company. And it seemed pretty easy at the time until the whole industry collapsed. What happened to me personally is a story that all of you should live by. I personally guaranteed everything for my business. I got credit cards that reported on my consumer credit reports. I always thought that if I ever got in trouble, I had tons of credit available for the business and tons of credit available as an individual to help bail me out. But here's what happened. When we started to fall behind on the business because we weren't able to pay some of the bills, the very first time we went late, those late payments carried over to our personal credit report because they were reported there. What happened then was every credit card company we had for the business and personal all cut our limits to what we actually owed. Now, anybody that knows anything about credit knows the rest of the story. When our limits became what we owed, my credit scores tanked, went through the floor because all my available credit was gone. My ability to get loans, other credit cards, any other kind of financing to bail myself out went away immediately overnight. And to make it worse, since I personally guaranteed everything for the business, they went in and they cleaned out our bank account. They cleaned out our assets. They took all the liquid cash we had. So because I personally guaranteed cards for my business and because I got credit reported for the business on the consumer credit reports, when things went bad in the business, it completely sucked me in personally. All my assets were gone. My credit was gone. Everything was gone in one shot. You can't do this. Look, none of us expect to fail. We're entrepreneurs. We don't fail. But the problem is there's so many factors in the economy and other things that you and I can't control that is our responsibility to our families to separate business and consumer credit, to separate liability, to keep them protected and safe from what we're doing as we're taking these risks. I learned that the hard way. I'm blessed to have not had kids at the time, so my kids didn't struggle, my wife and I did. The reason I started teaching people about business credit is so you can avoid what happened to me. It was the worst experience of my life. It was so horrible to literally have to call my in-laws to pay my electric bill. It was as bad as it can get. And I can tell you that it's a horrible feeling when you can't financially support your family. I don't want that to happen. That's why I teach people about how this works. But you need to know that with business credit, you separate that liability. You're not personally responsible for the business. So in my world, if I would have had business credit, known about it, what would have happened is I wouldn't have guaranteed what I did in the business. When I started to default on things in the business, they could not have come after my personal assets. And when I started to go late on credit cards for the business, it wouldn't have showed up on my personal credit report, which meant I would have had all that credit available to still have used and bail myself out. Don't make the mistake that I made. I'm telling you about business credit because you can separate these things. It's a choice, but you have to come in and build it so you can separate that liability. Again, guys, if it makes sense, like this, share this, keep commenting because that's what brings other people in here. Okay, so let me see because you're awesome. I appreciate that. I need a little help. Want to know if I should put Walmart and Target reports to find out who they buy from so I could buy from them too? Sure, that makes sense. Hello, everybody. Thanks for saying hello. Janice, Ferris, guys, everybody saying hello, and hopefully I did not miss anybody there. Okay, it increases the value of your business, okay, and it also gives you a competitive advantage, and here's why. Look, when you buy a business, you buy the credit profile of that business as well. It doesn't go with the owner. Remember, the talking about business credit, we're separating personal and business credit. So what happens is that when the business builds its own credit profile and score, the business becomes more valuable because the owner is inheriting that credit that you've built for it. So it helps you sell the business. It helps you stand out against other businesses a buyer may buy versus yours. And it also gives you a huge competitive advantage because let's be honest, if you have money and your competition doesn't, then you have a huge advantage because you can buy the supplies, you can buy the team, the team members, or not buy team members, but you can afford to hire team members, marketing, everything you need to grow the business even faster. Good info, but truckers, Sanford, I got to tell you, Sanford, look, truckers are attracted to this more than almost anyone because, again, you can get gas cards, you can get fuel cards, you can get so many different kind of business credit cards that help you on the road. Okay, will a 2 delinquent account destroy your business credit? Flynn, here's how this works. Business credit scores are based on how you pay. If you pay your bills on time, you get a good score. If you pay them late, how late you pay determines how low your score is. The best defense is a good offense. Get as many business credit cards as you can. The more you have, the more you offset a late payment here and there. So I can't tell you how much it will actually affect you because I don't know how many other accounts you'll have. But the more accounts you have, the less damage it will actually do. A nonprofit, how do you get business credit? Easy. Go to facebook.com/credit suite. Type in the letters EIN. When you do that, you'll engage with our bot. Our bot will give you a guide that maps out the exact steps to get started with business credit. While you're on our page, look at our other videos. We have some video training there for you as well. And again, Nick, it will work for startup real estate investments as well. And again, Flynn, pull your business credit reports. Go to creditsuite.com/monitoring. You'll get Experian and Dun & Bradstreet credit reports for only $24 and see if those are on there now. Okay, Janice says, can you pay early? Yes, but as you just heard somebody say, don't pay too early. You want to pay your business credit accounts as early as you can, but you have to let the item ship first. Otherwise, it counts as a cash transaction, not credit. So make sure you pay them early, but not too early. So another benefit here is that you want to basically, or actually we've taken a look at a lot of the benefits here. Let's answer some of the questions about how to do this. So when we talk about vendor business credit, you're starting it ultimately with what are called vendors, okay? Now, these are people that will give you extra time to pay for goods and services. So these are people like Quill. These are people like Uline. These are people like Granger. These are people like Gimplers. I think somebody just asked about them. Okay, so when you're getting credit with them, they basically ease your cash flow, and they also report to the business credit reporting agency, so you're building initial business credit with them. Okay, now again, Quill, Uline, Behalf lets you take payments and delay payments for your customers or take payments on behalf of your customers, okay? You can also use Gimpler. You can also use Granger. So what they do is they'll give you credit when you have none. They report it to the business credit reporting agencies. They establish initial credit profile and score for you. Once the profile and score is established, then you start to get more and more credit, right? Same as consumer credit. You started with nothing. You came in, you got small limit credit cards, typically, a lot of people start that way. Then as you use them, you get offers for more credit cards with higher and higher limits. Then you start to get the ability to get an automobile. You start to get the ability to get a mortgage. The more credit you build, the more you get. But business credit doesn't start with secure credit cards unless you use Wells Fargo. They have one. It starts with these vendors. It starts with Uline. It starts with Quill. It starts with Gimplers. It starts with Granger. These guys will give you credit when you have none, and they report to the business credit reporting agencies. Now, some of them will make you place a few orders. Uline and Quill, they may deny you for credit the first time you apply. No worries. Buy what you were going to buy from them anyways. Go back and try again. By the third time, we've seen almost everybody get approved. So if they won't approve you initially because you're too new in business or no credit reporting, order 2 or 3 times from Uline or Quill. The other thing to keep in mind, Quill will want you to spend $100 to actually get approved. So Michael says, for anyone who isn't a Credit Suite member, they've been a huge, huge help so far. Even though I'm still in the first couple of steps, looking things over, making sure everything matches. I really, really, really appreciate that, Michael. Thank you very much, man. That's really, really, really cool. My business was a 90. Flynn, that means you're paying your bills as agreed. Check your scores now and see where you are with those 2 late payments. If you have enough positive to offset the negative, you should still be okay. So once you've got 5 of these kind of vendors reporting, next you move on to store credit. With store credit, you can get credit with most major retailers. You can buy what you need to improve your business. You buy the normal things you use every day, okay? But again, as we talked about, per SBA, these limits are much higher than what you're typically used to seeing. $10, $20, $30, $40,000 limits. Now, these credit cards don't require a personal guarantee or personal credit check, and you're able to typically get these once these report, which takes about 30 to 60 days to get to this point. So Walmart. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So first of all, again, now you're starting to get the higher limit accounts. Vendors are $500, $1,500, $2,000. When you start to get to store credit, you start to get to $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 limits. Here's a secret. You got to use the credit. A lot of people look at this as stages that they just have to accomplish to move forward. Don't do that. The key is to get credit you actually need and are using. When you're using your vendor credit, when you're spending $500, when you're spending $1,000, when it comes to getting store credit, your limits will be much higher than the guy that's only spending the bare minimum of $50 or $100 that they need to spend. So get credit with vendors you're actually going to use and buy stuff you actually need. That way you're using the credit and the limits on the revolving store credit are higher. When you get the revolving store credit, get credit with retailers you're actually going to use and need. Because the more of that credit you use, the higher the limits, the higher the amounts that you're using, then what happens is the higher the future limits are that you get on more credit. So I see people that can't even get a $5,000 limit account and they have 10 trades. Why? When you pull their business credit report, it shows the recent amount of credit they used was $100 on every single account. That won't work. You need to get credit you're going to use. You need to use the credit. The using of the credit is what shows up on your business credit reports. That's what credit issuers' computers are looking at. And when they see you're using the credit, they raise your limits. You know how this works, right? The same thing happens in the consumer credit world, right? When you use your consumer credit cards, they raise your limits. That's what continues to happen. You use it. We just got a notification Target raised our limit. Why? Because we use our Target card all the time. We don't get limits on cards we don't use. We get limits on cards we do use. Same thing here. Build your business credit. Get credit with retailers you're actually going to use. That way you use the credit. The limits you get on future credit are even higher. Here's the other thing. You might not want to get the ones you're going to use most right away. Because if you get others and use them, then get to the one you really want, then the limit's going to be much higher than if you got to it when you weren't using a lot of credit. So again, the limits you're getting are relative to what others are giving you and relative to what you're using. Nobody's going to give you $10,000 credit limit when the most you've ever used on the other credit you're given is $100. So use the credit, and that's a secret to get you even higher limits. Now, Janice says, can it be 5 reporting from the same, or does it need to be 5 different businesses? It needs to be 5 different accounts or 5 payment experiences. What I mean by that is if you have an account that reports to 2 business credit reporting agencies, that counts as 2 payment experiences. So you need 5 total reported accounts across all 3, Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. Whoever's liking and loving, thank you guys for likes, loves, shares. That's what gets us out to more people, so I appreciate it. So Janice, to answer your question, you need 5 payment experiences. That means 5 different accounts or accounts that are reporting a total of 5 times. For example, Amazon reports to Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. Amazon would count as 3 accounts. Now, when we look at store credit, here's a lot of recent real approvals from our clients. And you can see how high the limits start to get here. We start to talk about places like Tractor Supply. We start to talk about places like Best Buy. We start to talk about places like Dell, like Apple, for example. These are all multiple approvals. And we can see these are $7,500, $10,000, $12,500. We can see $40,000 limits here. These are all real approval. Pilot Flying J's approving everybody for $50,000 right now, okay? So these are what the kind of stores and retailers that you can get credit from. But again, guys, almost every major retailer offers corporate credit without the personal guarantee, without the personal credit check. Now, once you've got about 10 of these accounts, or 8 to 10, then you can get the fleet credit. Fuel, auto repairs, maintenance, fleet cards, WEX fleet card, BP, Sunoco, Shell, etc. Then you move on to Visa MasterCards, which somebody was asking about. These are buy things you can't buy in stores. This is where you can take cash out, the Visa, the MasterCard, okay? Takes you about 6 months in total to get to this point in time. Again, 2 questions. And these kind of bring back the things I'm asked. How long does it take to build business credit? The only thing that determines the time frame is 2 factors. One, how long does it take those credit issuers to report? Most report in 30 to 60 days. Okay, so it takes about 60 days to move from vendor credit to store credit, because it takes about 2 months for those first accounts to report. It takes about 2 months to move on to store and fleet credit, because it takes about 2 months for those accounts to report. Second, how much credit are you applying for? Okay, so if you're in the vendor step and you apply for 8 accounts, well, there's a good chance that at least 5 of those are going to report in 30 days, which means you can move through the process faster. So get credit, use a lot of credit, and the more you do that, the faster you'll move through the process, because the faster those accounts actually report. And that's the key. With getting credit, you're actually going to need. You're actually going to use. The whole process to the very end of Visa, MasterCard, automobile financing takes about 6 months in total. That's 3 rounds of credit you're building. It takes about 6 months in total. The other thing is that you have to think about what you're going to use the money for. I see so many people make this mistake. They say, I need a business loan. How much you need it for? $50,000. What do you need to buy it for? Office supplies, computers, furniture, stop. You don't need a loan for 50 grand. What you need is a credit card to buy office supplies, one to buy furniture, one to buy computers. Don't get a $50,000 loan for that. Get credit with Dell. Get credit with IKEA. Get credit with Office Depot. Now, all of a sudden, instead of needing a $50,000 loan, you maybe need a $10,000 loan because you got 40 of what you needed using business credit. I promise it's much easier to get a $10,000 loan than it is a 50. So figure out what you need money for in the business. Think about what retailers can provide you those services and get business credit with those retailers. That allows you to save the loans for what you actually need. Payroll, marketing, advertising. Those are things you need a Visa card for or loans for. Those are things you can't use a Staples credit card for. But use a Staples credit card for the office supply. Use the Apple credit card for the computers. Use the IKEA credit card for the actual furniture. That means you need less cash in an actual loan, and that means you can actually use your loan proceeds for things you really may need, for example, like payroll expansion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So here's some questions. So what is Behalf? Behalf lets you basically take payments from your customers, they advance you the money, and then they collect the money from the customer. So that's what Behalf is, and they also report to the Business Credit Reporting Agency. I'm looking for, that makes sense. Unfortunately, the companies I use, most don't offer Net 30, makes sense. I'm looking for what type of loan without being a takeout of food truck. Well, look, again, what do you need the money for? If you need a loan, again, get in touch with us. Go to creditsuite.com. Our phone number's there, emails. Get in touch with us. We'll see what kind of loans we can get you qualified for. Now, is Regis still a good place for a virtual address? Pamela says, Regis and Alliance. If you want the best solution for a virtual address, go to creditsuite.com/virtual. If you don't know what a virtual address is, it's an address that you can rent where you get mail without paying a hefty rent payment like you were actually renting a location. Okay, Yvette says, what type of loan can you apply for a food truck business? There's a lot of different kind of loans. The question is what is your strength? Does your business have cash flow yet? That opens up revenue lending. It opens up SBA loans. It opens up term loans and alternative SBA loans. Do you have good personal credit? That opens up unsecured credit lines for up to about 150 grand. Do you have any of these kind of collateral? Stocks, bonds, 401ks, account receivables, inventory or equipment. All of this kind of financing can be available if you have collateral. If you don't have any of this, you really want to pay attention. That is when business credit can really help you. That becomes your best solution in that case. So hopefully that answers your question. I was told Pilot Flying J had stopped reporting. They are reporting. Okay, I don't know of them ever stopping, but they are reporting and they are hot and heavy in business credit right now, just so you know. Christine, how does the new May 2008 law requiring that you provide date of birth and social affect chances of getting Visa and MasterCard now? Christine, amazing question. What Christine is asking about is in 2016, they rolled out a regulation that's very important. You all should know this. It took effect effective May of 2018. What it is it's supposed to stop money laundering. And to be honest with you, the United States is a little behind the times on this. Most other countries already have enacted this. And what it requires is most banks, major banks, including major banks that issue credit cards, actually verify who the owner of the business is before actually opening an account is how it's defined. So what this means is it means now if you're getting a Visa card, a MasterCard, or a store credit card that's backed by them, they may force you to provide the social. It was never law before. Now it is with these major banks. And again, they're slow to enact it as we're seeing, but we're starting to see more and more sources do this. So here's the key. You can still get the credit without the personal credit check. You can still get the credit without the personal guarantee. Today, every source we verified is getting the social and the date of birth and doing what they're supposed to do. They're sending it to the actual government to verify. But again, what they're not doing is requiring a personal guarantee and credit check. So to answer your question, some sources may tell you it's law now. They need to provide your social. What you must do is do your due diligence and let them know you are not giving them the authority to pull your personal credit report. Make sure that you are not signing giving them the authority and telling them that you are not giving them permission to provide a personal guarantee. If you're doing those things, you'll get around it. But in most cases, leave the social blank. Try to get away that way. And if the credit card's not backed by a major bank or the major bank isn't in compliance, you don't even have to worry about it. But if they are, and you take those steps as a safeguard, you're going to be okay. Okay, so hopefully, Yvette, again, I gave you some options that will help you get loans. And if you go to facebook.com/credit suite, you'll see we did some live streams with a bunch of other loan options as well. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the loves. Guys, you'll see the more questions you ask, the more likes and loves, the more people come in. The reason is because Facebook is mean and greedy. And they only show this to people unless they know that this content makes sense and people are engaging. So I appreciate that because you're helping people get into the stream. Okay, so again, anybody can qualify. It's a catch-all. So as I was just talking about with Yvette, if you can't get a loan, this is a catch-all. Then what you do is you come in and build business credit. You use this credit to buy the things you need. You use Visa and MasterCard credit to get the truck and the other stuff that you actually need. Okay, you can get this with no cash flow. You don't need a guarantor. You don't need good personal credit check, okay? So if you want a free guide on building business credit, go to creditsuite.com/Facebook or go to facebook.com and type in the letters EIN. And hopefully this a ton of value to you guys today as we get ready to wrap up. So I love our live streams because it's the only type of content we put out where I'm engaging with you and you're engaging with me and I'm able to answer your questions in real time, which I really appreciate. So if you missed this, if you came in late, go to facebook.com/credit suite. And the first thing to do is go to Messenger and type in the letters EIN. You'll get a free guide. We'll also notify you when we go live in the future. It's the only way to really get notified because even if you're on our Facebook page and following, Facebook won't notify you unless you're in Messenger. Okay. Also, we're here in most cases Wednesdays at 4 o'clock Eastern. Next Wednesday, obviously we won't be here. It's the 4th of July. The next Wednesday, I'm sorry to say, I won't be here. I'm just taking a quick vacation with my family and my little kiddos over to Disney, which is about an hour and a half. So I will be back in 3 weeks from now with our next Facebook live stream. And I'm typically here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. If you missed this, again, go to facebook.com/credit suite, type in the letters EIN to Messenger. That will get you notified next time. And this will be available on our company page for you to watch in its entirety. To all of you that attended, thank you. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the loves. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the questions. It really means a lot. That's what gets people in here. And my mission in life is to make sure nobody had the experience I had of losing everything on the personal side because I tried to fund my business using personal credit and personal guarantees. My experience is to educate and tell you how to get around that and not do it so you can be successful in your business and not go through the failures that I had to go through at one point in my life. So thank you all very much for coming in. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the loves. I won't see you next week. I hope you have a happy 4th of July. I won't see you the next week, but I'll be thinking about you when I'm over at Disney chilling with my kids, but I will be back in 3 weeks and I will be here live on Facebook at 4 o'clock Eastern. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Please like and subscribe to get Credit Suite on Facebook for more live Facebook weekly training on getting money to grow your business and other business growth strategies. And don't forget to grab your free 4-step business credit building guide at creditsuite.com/Facebook.